Welcome to BizTech's Conversations. I'm Brian Fernandez, and our guest today is Managing Director of Centrix PR, Jacqueline Arnold. She's going to share Centriq PR's findings on the Malaysian Communications Pulse 2020. Welcome to the show, Jackie.
Hi, Brian. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Now, Jackie, before we start, tell us a little bit about Centrix PR, because after all, you've been in the market for a very long time.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for that. We have been in the market. Next year will be 25 years that we've been around.
Wow. Okay. It's a long time.
A quarter of a century. Can you believe that? And if you asked me 10 years ago if we would have ever anticipated what happened this year, I would say no. You know, this took everybody by surprise. So yes, we've been around for 25 years almost now, and we've grown organically. We started as a small one-man show, and that grew to 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. And again, we started predominantly with small businesses as clients, and then we went on to SMEs. We went on to then multinationals, GLCs, and so forth. And over the years, continue to expand our portfolio. So while we started predominantly, and it's remained one of our core strengths in the property sector, we've, over the years, lots of property clients. Some are on retainer basis, some are on project basis, you know, as and when there are things going. But we moved on to our other strengths, tech. We do auto, we do some FMCG, we do healthcare. Education is a big strength for us as well. So we're pretty much across the board at the moment.
Okay, could you give me an idea on why you started this communication survey?
Okay, well, the main thing that happened over the last few months is everybody kept asking, hey, what's going on? All our clients are asking, what are other people doing? Are they doing anything? You know, so I thought, what better way, to find out than to do a survey? And because I think no one else, we looked around and no one else has done this specifically in the Malaysian environment. And I thought it's good to know coming into the new year now, for people to at least know what's going on out there and to make plans as to what actions they want to take. And because over the years, we have developed a pretty solid database of past clients, current clients, and business prospects, our network is pretty big. So I thought, let's do that. And we can leverage our network and people know us personally. And so the response rate also would be better.
So give us an idea. You talked about response rate. Who did you target in terms of respondents? What sort of sample size and what sort of responses did you get? And also, very importantly, what sort of job functions did your respondents have, and also what sort of sectors you focused on?
All right. So we pretty much mirrored what is in the Malaysian economy, which is mostly driven by SMEs. So I would say a vast majority, up to 80% of our respondents are from the SME sector. And the other 20% would be from GLCs and MNCs and so forth. And we cut across a broad spectrum. So we have people from manufacturing, we have people from aviation, telco industry, auto, education, pharmaceuticals, F&B type clients and so forth. And we targeted CEOs, business owners, and also people who are heading up either PR, comms, or marketing.
Okay, and what were the key insights that you gained from this survey?
Okay, one of the main things that, in a way, it surprised me, but in a way, it didn't surprise me, okay? That 86% of the respondents said that they had, when we asked, did you have a communications plan? And we talk about communications plan, it's not a crisis comms plan, right? It's just your basic comms plan. And 86% said they had a plan in place, and that's fantastic. But what is pretty worrisome for me as someone who believes very, very, very seriously in communication is that about 15% did not have a plan. And in this day and age, when we all know the absolute prevalence of communications and how important it is to the success of a business, there's still 15% out there who did not have a plan. That is scary. That's very scary. And I suppose these are probably the people who might have been the hardest hit when things took a turn for the worse. So that was one of the major things that struck us. The other thing, I guess it's not surprising, but it's good to have a confirmation that people then switch their focus during the MCO and after it to communicating predominantly with employees and customers. And you can see, and employees were the number one, right? So it shows that people are very serious about keeping their team informed, because you want your team to stay. You want good people to stay. You want your team, you want to reassure them, you want to give them confidence, you want to keep them up to date. So that was very, very, for me, it gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling that people are communicating with their employees.
And that kind of surprises me, Jackie, I think, because in the past, you would think that, and obviously we can label this as internal communications.
Yes.
Right? Your communication with your employees.
Yeah.
In the past, companies have placed less emphasis, unless they were large and structured. But I think the results of your survey are quite heartening, because obviously that was because of all the disruptions. People started to value their employees more and realize that, hey, we need to speak to our people.
Yep. We need to speak to them. We want to keep them, because I think in the HR world, everybody knows that when times are bad and companies let people go, the smarter companies, all right, that's when they go on a buying spree and they mop up all the talents. And you should, I think you're very well versed in that subject as well.
Yes.
So I think people now want to make sure that they keep their talent, so that communication was very important. And to customers, of course, I felt, absolutely, your customers need to know what's going on, especially, this was like a crisis. And another thing that for me is a little bit worrisome is because, for example, our government is placing a lot of emphasis on Industry 4.0 to move the economy. And I mean, we're talking about Industry 4.0 a couple of years ago already. But people, it's a big investment. For greenfield, it's fine. But if you're a brownfield, it's a big investment. And companies, large companies, and even the smaller ones, they were hesitant because it's a huge capital outlay. And now what is shown is Industry 4.0 seems to be last on their list of priorities. Yeah, that's another thing which came up.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. It's very scary because Industry 4.0 is now supposed to help us to grow and take us forward. But it's, I guess, now considered luxury. So it's gone way down the list. It was the last thing on the list. So the number one.
So what was the number one? Yeah. Maybe you could go down the list a little bit, so we have a better feel.
Yeah. So the question was, what functions are the most important in your company? So number one was sales and marketing. A very close number two was operations. Yeah. So you sell, then you need operations to help you
to deliver. Yeah.
To deliver, to produce and deliver. Then came finance. Then came technology. And then came HR, and last pause in was Industry 4.0 advancements.
Okay.
So that is worrisome.
That is what it is, because again, I think in mitigation, for many companies this year, it's all been about survival.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at those hierarchy of options, those are survival. Bring in the revenue.
Yes.
Make sure that we can deliver.
Yes.
And those are the primary two. Everything else is secondary. We need to stay alive.
Yes. Survival is number one. You need the cash flow. With no cash flow, that's it. You're lost. Yeah, you've lost the race. So that was a very interesting insight. The other thing we looked at was to ask people again about their preferred language of business, and English was by far the leader. Again, no surprise there, but it's good, to be reassured and so that we can communicate that information to clients as well, and to any other agencies that are interested to know about the language criteria in business.
Okay. Now, and then Jackie, can I ask you now, what's your take on the overall impact on COVID-19 on the communications industry?
It has been pretty severe, Brian, pretty severe. I knew the day before the MCO was implemented way back in Q1, several event management companies closed shop. They just gave out letters of termination to the entire team because they knew that there would be no events. Yeah, and so because of that, it affected everybody in our industry, all types of communication. So whether it's PR, advertising, events, and so forth, everybody is very badly affected. The bigger ones of us have managed to, we retain our clients. Maybe we do things on a smaller scale, and also because I think the clients that have that they know how important communications is. They continue to do things, like I said, maybe on a smaller scale, but they know. It's out there in any textbook. It'll tell you if you stop communicating with your clients or with your customers, your competitors will start doing it for you.
So coming back to that, Jackie, we've got basically the early green shoots coming out across the world in terms of recovery. Especially coming out of China, the data has been the economic data has been very good. So so we can look forward to growth in 2021 and hopefully back to pre-COVID levels. However, what then are 3 critical things you think that companies should be doing as part of their 2021 communication strategy or new communication strategy?
I think moving forward, it's very important for companies to ride on the local sentiment. And one of the key things that has come out during these last 9 months is the support local campaign. Yeah. So people want to patronize and to support companies and products that are helping locals sustain their income. Yeah, so that should be a big move. So people should look at engaging with the community and finding ways how we can put Malaysians into employment. That's important. So that's one of the main things. The second thing I think we need very desperately is actually for the government to do a bit more to help out the communications sector. Our sector has had we don't fall under any of the categories for any incentives. So sadly, everybody has just had to manage on their own. So to help to support the communications industry, we do need something from the government, and even for the general economy, the government needs to start, doing stuff out there and awarding contracts and so forth for communications, so that there's a ripple effect throughout the economy. And the other thing I think is very important now, companies should know that there are many issues that they've been faced with over these last 9 months, and these will not go away overnight. So perhaps what everybody needs to do now is to really take issues management more seriously. I think in Malaysia, one of the things we are very good at is just fighting fires. So crisis communications. Yep. But issues management, and this is one of the things that I'm an advocate for, is putting PR into the boardroom, right? Because at the end of the day, PR is a critical factor to business sustainability. If you make the right decisions, and when I say right, I mean the PR decisions. If you do what's right, what PR advises you to do is always right. Yeah? If you do what's right, you avoid a crisis. Your business will be sustainable, right? And you will be able to build good connections and engage with your stakeholders for a long-term and positive relationship. So I would say those are the 3 things.
Okay, now Jackie, you touched on a very interesting issue about PR from the boardroom, which I think in Malaysia is getting more recognition that it's got to start really right at the top. But if I'm a marketing director and basically budgets have been cut, what could you advise me to do in terms of smart spending in terms of marketing in 2021?
As you said rightly, it comes from the top. So the company has to make a decision of the route they're going to take. and to do the right thing. So you have to set aside a budget, even if it's 10% or, if you're lucky, 20% of your budget, right? For community engagement and for CSR in the true sense of the word. So this is what we need more of, the triple bottom line kind of CSR, where you engage with people, with the community, help them gain work, help upskill them, help train them. And at the same time, it feeds back into the system. And at the moment, I think only the larger companies are doing that. The big MNCs, they're doing that. They have been doing that. But it's time for the SME sector now to look at it a little bit more closely, because you need employees and you need them from the community. And if you have a good CSR program in place, that will, most Malaysians now, they don't want low skill jobs. They're all looking for higher skill jobs. And we have people who are out there in the marketplace looking for work. So we need some investment in, high-tech machinery, and then you will have the high-skilled people to use the machinery and, produce for the manufacturing sector.
Now, final question, Jackie. I think, will this Pulse report, which obviously is very interesting, very timely because no one's done it before, is this going to be a more regular feature?
It is. It definitely is. So we're going to do this every 6 months. So it'll be a biannual report. And what I'm saying to all the people who have responded this time around is, please, in the future, send us any questions you want to know, all right? Send through your questions and we'll include them in the survey. So that way it's relevant, right? Because this all started, like I said, because clients were asking us, hey, what's going on out there? So we want to keep this relevant, and I don't want to be asking the same questions over and over again. So relevant, what's happening with the changes. So every 6 months, everybody can expect a Pulse Comms report.
Excellent. Now, where would I get the current Pulse report if I wanted to go and take a look at it?
If you want to take a look at it, it will be up on our website by Monday, www.centriqpr.com. So it'll be up on the website on Monday.
Now, any final thoughts, Jackie, before we go?
Final thoughts, yes, to everybody out there. I'm one of these people who is very optimistic. Life goes on, business goes on, and we need to really go back to business. By all means, we need to, of course, follow all the SOPs for COVID-19, but we need to get out there. We need to communicate with all our stakeholders. We need to rebuild the market, rebuild the business, and rebuild all our economies so we can have some normalcy again.
Jackie, thank you very much for taking the time and sharing your thoughts.
A pleasure, Brian.
We've been speaking to Managing Director of Centrix PR, Jacqueline Arnold. I'm Brian Fernandez. This video will be on our Facebook and LinkedIn sites, as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please check out our website for business and technology conversations via articles, videos, podcasts, and please subscribe and like our LinkedIn and Facebook pages. Thank you very much.